Just 5 games in, how's your transition to linebacker been treating
Uh, it's been a learning experience, but nonetheless fun. I think in my opinion, it's just better. It fit me personally better.
what have you been learning about linebacker that maybe you couldn't learn in practice?
You mean like as far as in the game? I'd say like the game just moved different. Like as a fan, you watch it, you don't really know what's going on. Everything it seems to move fast, but just knowing your assignment, it slow the game down a lot. So it's different for us, being in the game than how it look on film.
Mark, we all know your story and how you came here from SEMO and changed positions, and now you're starting in the Southeastern Conference. I mean, you have to pinch yourself sometimes that this is how things ended up for you. I mean, it's an incredible story.
Uh, I mean, for the most part, it's been a long journey, man. I put a lot of work into it, and just the whole time, man, it was a lot of days I ain't see a lot of results. So it taught me how to be humble. So even now that I'm in a position, that I never thought I'd be in, like I just go back to the things that got me here. Just stay humble and keep working. Never be satisfied. Never get too high. Never get too low.
So when you were thinking about leaving Cape Girardeau and you were trying to figure out where your next step was going to be, what was it about Ole Miss that made that your next place?
One of my closest friends, man, Otis Reese. Man, OT been close ever since we first met. In high school, and we would always be at home working out together at each other's house. And man, he was like, "Man, I think you'll be a good fit. If you came up there to Ole Miss with me." And I was like, I don't know, man. That's the SEC. Like I know they got guys. They don't need me coming from SEMO, but it just came down to my faith and just believing in the work that we put in. So when I got here, they were just uphill from there. So I don't know.
Did you think you'd be playing running back here? Did you ever think for a second that you and Otis would be on the same defense on the same side of the ball together?
Nah, I thought I would come in to take Snoop's spot. So but nah. I talked to Coach Smith, and these guys. That's what come with being at a program like this. They know what they see. So I just had to trust them that was best for me to move to linebacker, for me to be the best player I wanted to be. So I just had to trust and believe and keep working.
All right, on Saturday, you guys have another big test in front of you with Tennessee. An offense very similar to ones y'all faced in the last couple of weeks and very similar to your own offense. What do you see on film? What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be facing them?
I see on film a lot of similarities, to our offense, as you just said. But I think the biggest challenges for us, like even not just this week, but it's us versus us. So like, I hate to go back, but in the past, but if you think about like Bama game, and we watch the film and we break it down, and every week it's us versus us. So if we go and execute and we prepare the right way, as our coaches always make sure we do, and we go out there and make sure we do what we're coached to do at a high level, it don't matter who we playing. That's just the mindset that we got to carry on the field.
Yesterday, Lane brought up missed tackles as something that was a little bit frustrating. How frustrating is that for you guys, and how do you kind of fix that in the middle of the season?
I mean, missed tackles, man, they come. You just got to focus, make sure you have the right leverage. But mid-season, we just got to lock in. And I think the way you erase a lot of that is everybody running to the ball. So, that's just something that we have to make sure we bring to the table, everybody getting to the ball. So even if, they break one tackle, then they get smacked by 3 or 4 more dudes, And they ain't going to want to break tackles after we keep smacking them like I played running back. They ain't going to want to keep running like that.
I've asked a couple of your teammates about this. When you're playing a linebacker in this scheme, in the 3-2-6, how difficult is it when every block's one-on-one and the running back kind of has those holes? Is it harder to play linebacker when there are fewer players in the box?
I guess numbers-wise, you could say like it's harder because we have a lot of one-on-ones. But man, it just boiled down to doing your job, doing what we're coached to do, taking on the blocks the right way, making sure that we in our right fit, you know. And once you learn how to do the hard things, like people say, this is a hard defense to play in. So just imagine like what everybody else is doing. It's gonna be easy, like if we ever do that. So I don't see nothing wrong with it. I'd take the hard road. I mean, we all go take the hard road.
I don't think we ever got to ask you about this. Just the targeting penalty week one. What was kind of your reaction to it, and how did you kind of spend the rest of that game?
It was tough. I just remember going back to the sideline, just talking to God, man. Just I know He don't make no mistakes. So in the moment, I wasn't thinking about nothing. Like I had forgot about the targeting calls, but I just went in to make a physical play, to try to set the tone for our defense to show everybody how we were coming to play this year. And when they did that, it was just trying to be that the best way I can from the sideline for my teammates.
Following up on Nick's question there, how does that affect you in terms of being a defender out there on the field and having to make quick and violent decisions in terms of making a tackling? And let's be honest, most of the targeting calls we see every Saturday are not intentional. They're happenstance. But does that affect the way, can you allow that rule to affect the way you play on defense?
It's hard, man. I think if you look at a lot of the calls, and you look at just watch a lot of games in general, the offensive guys, the ball carriers, are ducking their heads. So, if we don't meet force with force, then they can hit us in the chest, and it's easier for them to run us over at that point. So, I mean, as a defender, you just got to play fast and violent, man. Just try to keep your head up. It ain't fair, but that's just what we're here to do. We're here to play ball. You can't cry about it. You just got to move on.
A lot's been made of tempo, and Tennessee runs. I think it's 2.8 something plays per minute, and Arkansas obviously kind of did that sort of stuff too. As a defense, is there anything you can do to sort of counteract tempo? Like how do you deal with teams that are running that many plays?
Just make sure we're aligned, cleats in the dirt. Got the call every play. Every time they set up, we be ready, knowing that they're going tempo. And another thing, man, just hit them in the mouth and get out the field. That'll start tempo.